Hey guys, it's Clint again. Wanted to talk about this little press interview from Singapore TV. It has Brie Larson in it talking about Captain Marvel, and the messaging really is what I wanted to focus on here. You've seen the trailers probably many times. I know I have, but I really wanted to focus on how they're trying to sell this movie. Now, before I get into that, I got to do some selling of my own, and that is I'm writing this book, Downcast. It's going to be launched on April 2nd on Indiegogo, and the best thing that you can possibly do to get into this, it's going to be really exciting. It's not political. It's just fun, a fun book. I think you'll enjoy it. But go down to the link in the description below, and that will send you to my mailing list. Promise not to spam you, but that way you can be in the know, and I can get a good idea of how much interest there is in this book. So that will be great. Thank you. So right off the bat here, part of the messaging, they're really trying to reinforce it here. And you can see with even just the words that they have over the screen here, meet Marvel's first female superhero lead. Now, I don't know what happened to Electra, but that was a Marvel film. Electra, that is a Marvel property, right? There have been female, I guess you could say Black Widow is a co-star. I wouldn't say that Black Widow has been a supporting character necessarily. In the Avengers movies, it seems like they're all on the level playing field. Now, I really wish that they would have made a Black Widow movie first, because they've already set the precedence that, there's this female superhero and she's just sort of part of the team. That and the fact that I actually do really like a lot of the Black Widow stories in the comics. I just think she has an interesting background, interesting story. It's sort of the espionage background that, I think is fun. Captain Marvel, on the other hand, it doesn't interest me whatsoever, but who knows, maybe that's just me. Let's jump into this.
Congratulations. I know this is a big deal. I just wanted to know, did you ever think, I had to go into the fan forums to sort of find out what type of Captain Marvel that the fans were looking for, or was it all Brie Larson? Okay,
so did you get into the Captain Marvel forums and start reading about it? Of course you didn't. Of course not. Now, this tells me that she's not interested in comics. Now, trust me, you don't have to be interested in comics to act in a comic book movie. But yeah, I would think it would help, especially if you had, maybe 3 years of time to go over it and learn about that kind of history.
It's kind of a pairing of both things. I signed on to this 3 years before we were going to make it, so I had plenty of time to kind of dig into it. But I did reach out to the kind of two big Captain Marvel fan sites, Captain Marvel News and Captain Marvel Brazil. They are schooling me constantly. I'm blown away. I filmed the movie and I didn't realize how many shots from the comics we recreated.
That really is surprising to me because, again, we're looking at the messaging here. It has lots to do with what she's saying and why it's in the video here. But she doesn't see a problem with saying that she didn't know much about Captain Marvel. She's looked at those websites, but after she filmed it. So she didn't know how much they took from it. I don't know. It's just surprising to me because we're talking about some comic books here. It wouldn't hurt to read some of the source material. Maybe she did, but it just doesn't sound super promising here. She went to those fan sites, and I wonder. I've never actually met somebody that is a diehard Captain Marvel fan, but I would be interested to see what their thoughts are on how well she's doing.
Some of them, but I didn't know the full extent, so I'm learning a lot.
What do you think is it about sort of the Marvel movie? It has themes that always resonates with people.
It started with the first Iron Man. I loved Robert Downey Jr. and I was interested to see what he would do with it. And it's their casting choices, and also, which goes hand in hand with that, their decision to make movies about superheroes who are complex, interesting human beings.
Yeah.
Boom. That great point. Casting, having the right person play the role, and then at the same time having well-written, complex characters. And I would add with flaws. That's what makes them complex. I haven't seen Captain Marvel, but it's just set up for her to just save the day. I hope that she has some really nice struggles and that she's not perfect. But you notice here, it's not Brie Larson that's explaining these things, which is also interesting. Brie Larson's position here, and it'll get into it a little bit later here, is she's more there to talk about how great it is to be, quote unquote, the first female Marvel lead.
And relatable human beings.
How has your process changed in making a movie like Captain Marvel and still sort of making it feel grounded and intimate and personal like Half Nelson?
Yeah, I think that was the goal coming in. We knew that it was going to be a big movie. We knew that we were going to have to open up our collaboration beyond just the two of us into so many more voices and opinions. But coming into it, the goal was always to how do we infuse the movie with the intimacy and the humanity that we accessed in our other movies.
I've enjoyed so much playing this character, and it's moments like last night that remind me that representation matters and that female complexity matters.
Female complexity and representation, that matters. Why is it female complexity? Why is it not just complexity or character complexity? This doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. It just feels like they're trying to fit female in as much as they can. I mean, again, the director was just saying that the things that made Iron Man great and the other Marvel movies great was casting and making complex characters. So why female complexity? They're really, really trying to add that in.
And so that's powerful.
What's the conversation that should be had right now, not just in Hollywood, but in the industry as a whole, for females?
For females. So is it a conversation that females should be having, or is it a conversation that is just supposed to help females? This doesn't, like, what? There's been female movie stars all throughout history. This isn't, why are we pretending that this is some new thing and we're breaking ground and this is making people so upset? The thing that makes me upset, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're making a movie with a female lead. Again, I'm all for that. The problem is that they're making it sound like nobody, like has been some kind of civil rights struggle to get here. There's a disconnect between reality and the messaging.
Seeing so many young girls and young women last night at the fan event, how much it meant to them to have this female superhero and to have females behind the camera as well, people who they could look at and say, you know, if I want to do that, I can do that too. That is really important.
Part of my...
Do most people know who directs films? Like that, just your average person going to watch a movie, any average movie. Does the average person pay that much attention? I don't think so. I bet that there's research on this. I highly doubt it. Most people are just going because it's a Marvel movie, it's superheroes. They're going to watch it. So that's the message, is that because there's a female, I've heard this so many times, like because you see somebody that is doing the job that you want, that looks like you, that means you can do that job. It's really strange to me. If you want to do a job, then do the job. Like I don't know. I don't get why you'd have to see somebody that looks like you or just has the same gender as you do a job. Especially, again, this isn't the first time, right? There have been females that have directed movies. There are far fewer, but I don't know. Why do you have to force it?
Interest in this talk of diversity is also talking about privilege. I mean, I'm really encouraged by things.
Did you notice the hard cut there? Things about privilege. So you think it's going to be talking about white privilege, and then this is totally different thing here. Privilege. Remember that.
Like how great the quality is on our phones now, that people have the ability to make things.
Yeah.
That to me is...
Okay. The quality on your phones. Think about privilege, like the quality of your phones. Obviously, these are not connected whatsoever. I think she was talking about the quality of your phone being able to go out and make films, make videos or something. But she started talking about privilege. Now, I don't know if they ended up cutting out some of the more ideology-heavy statements, or they just really wanted that word privilege in there. Really, they checked that off the box, and so they don't care what else she says. What that has to do with phones, I guess if you're really, really rich and you're a movie star, then, I guess you can afford whatever phone you want.
Is like the beginning of this next phase of the revolution, is saying like, how can we bring it down to like this baseline level so that we can get to the stories that are just like...
The revolution. What? Is this like communism? the next round in the revolution. It's so disingenuous to me because Brie Larson is wealthy already. She's wealthy. So, I don't know. I hate getting lectured about privilege by people that obviously have a lot of actual privilege. We're talking about money here, and status for that matter. I don't know. It was just interesting to me to see another perspective and how things are framed, especially for Singapore. This is something like it says here. It's funded in whole or part by the Singapore government. I'm glad they tell you that on YouTube. but there's definitely certain things that they allow and certain things that they don't allow, and it's going to be different for different countries. So it's interesting how they manage to. This is Singapore now. This is an Asian country, and they're talking about these social justice kinds of words. It's being introduced over there. So I'm interested to see how this all goes, and I really hope in the future those Asian countries are not taken over by SJWs or this. I don't know. We're just gonna have to buckle in. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will talk to you next time.